Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on a sweltering evening. Too hot for me. We were just talking backstage, but this is Devil's Advocate. Welcome back. Brought to you by the Weekly Armchair. Hope everybody in the comments as well. Get your comments in. Get your questions in. Big game tomorrow. Pre-season or no pre-season. A big game for us tomorrow. We're just waiting on someone else. Liverpool fan. So give him as much stick as you want when he gets on. But yeah, I had COVID last week and I've just got to the other side of that. First time in 2.5 years. And the bastard gets me, but there you go. Kevin, great to have you on, buddy. Struan, as always, a pleasure. Just going to come to you quickly and just to see how you are. Kevin, you first, buddy.
Yeah, fine. Just looking forward to the first time with the hot weather, so it's going to be the first bit of disappointment tomorrow, I think, all summer.
I love the positivity. Absolutely right. Well, it doesn't really matter tomorrow, obviously, but it's always nice to try and get one over our beloved Liverpool. But there you go. Struan, I take it you're well as well too, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm not bad at all. I'm expecting a similar outcome as Kevin tomorrow, to be honest. But yeah, I'm doing well at the moment before the game.
Yeah, good to hear. Yeah, so obviously big game tomorrow, 2 p.m. kickoff. It's been several few weeks now without any football. Starting to miss it, believe it or not. Seen a lot of obviously the training videos. We've probably discussed this before, but obviously it makes you fall back in love with United again, seeing them train really, really hard, and hopefully something like that pays off tomorrow. As I said, it doesn't really mean anything, but here we are. It would always be nice to get a win tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Kevin, I don't know if you've obviously had the luxury of seeing some of the training videos recently and all that sort of thing, but what are you expecting tomorrow? I appreciate obviously he's been there a few weeks, but are you expecting to see some sort of change? Are you expecting to see a lot more tempo tomorrow?
I mean, from what he comes out with, and certainly the shouting in the videos, it seems to be all the passes have to be forward a lot more than they were previously. And I don't know if that was necessarily drilled into us since Louis van Gaal days almost, into pretty much the whole club. But it'll be interesting to see if it has changed in any way, especially when we come out of the defence. Sort of, usually last season it was very, very common to see not just Wan-Bissaka or Shaw, whoever was playing at the fullback position to run up the line and then turn around. So when they get the ball, so it'll be interesting to see if a cross goes in or if it goes back again. So that's something I'm really looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. We always seem to get carried away, don't we, with when a new manager comes in, what we're expecting, and kind of get ahead of ourselves, really, don't we? But I'm really hoping that some of the training and as you mentioned as well, sort of high press, quicker football, playing in triangles, always shouting that terminology, playing in the triangle and getting that ball forward. And it'll be really great to see if that happens tomorrow. Struan, you are of the same thoughts tomorrow? What are you expecting? And we'll obviously talk about the lineup as time goes on.
I'm looking forward to it. From that first video that came out when Ten Hag first came to the training ground, and he's almost measuring the grass, and you just think straight away, we've got somebody potentially here. He's somebody who's definitely committed to the job and everything like that. And I think it's felt good seeing people back at training. It's felt really fresh. I don't think we've had a pre-season since 2019.
Yeah.
I think this is Harry Maguire's first at the club, which is pretty crazy considering this is going to be his fourth season.
He's got off lightly, isn't he, really?
Yeah, it's quite crazy, actually, just thinking of how much football there has been. I know we had pre-season games last year, but obviously the team didn't go abroad and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. And obviously Ten Hag's first game in charge is going to be against Liverpool. I mean, I doubt we'll ever remember this being the first game in charge type situation. His proper first game will be Brighton at the start of the season, but it'll be an interesting one. I think there's some kind of cup as well on the line, but I don't think that'll be relevant or too relevant, to be honest. These pre-season friendly cups always just kind of get
silverware, isn't it? No?
I don't know. I remember Lucas Moura tweeted about Spurs winning the Audi Cup, and he just got so much stick on social media, I remember, for doing that. So I can imagine
if you remember that.
Yeah, I think if anyone will do that tomorrow for any team, it's probably going to have a similar outcome. But at the same time, I'd imagine we'll probably see about 2 starting 11s throughout the game, either half, something like that, just trying to get a feel. I'm just interested to see what kind of formation he sets up with and who plays where, whether, Sancho's going to be played on the right, which left back's going to start straight away, who's going to be on the right, just all these other questions and stuff like that. It's just exciting coming into it. I mean, we'll probably get, beaten 4-0 or something like that, and it'll be suddenly back to square one. But it's just really exciting at the moment, to be honest.
Both incredibly negative tonight, and I don't appreciate that. But no, of course I'm joking. But yeah, both these guys obviously feel like we're not going to come away with anything tomorrow. But listen, it's a pre-season game. There's nothing up for grabs. It is about just sort of having two 11s on the pitch either half, as you've seen in most pre-seasons, and that's all I'm kind of expecting. I did see a clip today of Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right, and a nice little cross and a header from Rashford in the box, which was really good to see. So talking about that, Kevin, who are you expecting to who would you like to see in your front three tomorrow? I can imagine in typical Ten Hag fashion, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. So who would you like to see, who are your favourite three to see up top tomorrow?
I definitely like to see Sancho on the right. That's where he played for Dortmund most of the time, and that's where he performed the best. And I guess you'd have to go with Martial up top, since as long as he gets those assists, he said to Bruno on the plane the other day, he might have a good season. And then it'd be Rashford on the left, and I mean, we sold our best preseason player today, so.
Yeah, we absolutely did, and I was going to talk about that briefly, actually. It's been a long time coming. We're not going to, unfortunately, see a pre-season Pirlo masterclass, are we, Struan? But he's finally got his move, including add-ons over time, about €13 million, which is quite not a substantial amount, but for considering the player, Andreas being the player that he is, and trying to get rid of him for a number of seasons now, it's a good thing to see that United are able to get rid of him finally.
Yeah, he's been one of those players who you always kind of think, will he get that chance at United, or is he going to go? He's had these loans to Valencia, Granada, the Lazio one, which I'd totally forgotten about until recently, and then Flamengo, obviously, in Brazil, and it just seemed like nobody was ever going to buy him. But I think it's a really good move for all parties to fill him, to be honest. Man United have gotten, I think, 10 million it'll come to with the add-ons, and I think there's like a 20% sell-on fee as well, so, there's potentially something there. And I think, at Fulham, you'd imagine he'd hopefully get quite a lot of minutes in the Premier League. It's a decent club. Marco Silva did really well with them last season. It's probably too early to speculate whether they'll, be in a relegation battle or what they'll do next season, but you'd hope he gets a few minutes. And yeah, I think he's been at the club for a decade as well now. He's one of these players from Holland. I think he came from originally before the academy. So it's good to see him go off. I think everybody will miss the 30-yard screamers that he scores in pre-season. His one against Everton last season was just unbelievable. But yeah, hopefully it works out for him, because he's never one of these players who, you've had any dislike towards. He's just somebody who, a lot of people would just say, he's probably not at the level Man United want to get to. And it's just a case of finding the right club for him, because when he has played, he's been everywhere. I mean, I remember the start of the 2018-19 season, or the 17-18 rather, under Mourinho, and he played him as the 6 with Fred and Pogba in the midfield. And then, he was occasionally out on the right, the number 10. He just sort of was trialed everywhere, and it just never quite worked out. And I think this is probably the best move for him and Man United's, as we say, going forward. And I guess for the transfer market, keeps that net spend down as well for United.
Yeah, absolutely right. A bit of a shame for Andreas. I really thought, when he first moved to Valencia, wasn't it, in Spain, he looked like a completely different player. And I think over the years, through, various managers, and he's just lost that confidence. It's just not quite worked out for him. So obviously we all wish him the very best, and I hope he does move to Fulham and absolutely kick on and kill it over there. So we'll see, and you never know, he might get an absolute screamer against us at some point. Moving on to the defence, actually, it's come out today that Harry Maguire is going to continue captaincy. It's not a massive surprise to me, if I'm brutally honest. I think he's been unfairly criticised over the last year or so, He's not the abysmal player that everybody's making him out to be. And let's not forget, we went from 60-odd goals to 40-odd goals the following season after he joined, so he deserves plaudits there. But yeah, Kevin, your choice in captaincy, or would you have gone with someone else?
I'm not surprised either. I don't. It's the lack of a replacement, I think, is the big problem. I don't think he's amazing, but I think you'd be hard pressed to answer who would be better. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, you have Ronaldo who's not going to show up, and then you have Bruno Fernandes as your other choice, I suppose, and he spends most of the time just complaining at the ref. So I just don't see anyone better, really. There's not much there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And Struan, are you in the same boat there, or would you have preferred to have seen someone else to get the captaincy?
I don't mind Harry Maguire keeping it, to be honest. I think he's very, very harshly criticised, to be honest. I mean, on social media, you'd think he'd never played a good game for Man United, but I think Kevin's spot on. I can't see who else would come in and replace him. I think we've got a few leaders around the team. I think Varane will sort of come into that, but obviously you wouldn't want to put the armband on him given his injury record recently, but possibly in the future, Fernandes is another one. But just because Maguire has the armband, I don't think it's a big issue. I like him. I'd say since he signed for the club, he's probably easily been one of the top 3 or 4 players at the club, to be honest. In that time, Rashford and Bruno are probably the 2 standouts since I guess the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer period. But I'm absolutely fine with it, and I think it's one of these things that Ten Hag has so much to deal with already coming in, and you talk about the lack of transfer activity and everything else that's going on with Man United, the whole Ronaldo situation, the goalkeeper situation being another one. The captaincy is just one of these things that if it ain't broken, don't fix it. I think a lot of people are saying that we had such a bad season last year and Maguire was at fault for that. He needs to go. I just don't think taking the armband off him is going to improve him that much, to be honest. I think it's fine. And it's one of these things as well that, we don't know what gets said in the dressing room. We don't know who talks a lot on the training ground. Maguire was given the captaincy for a reason and he's kept it all this time. And to be honest, I think it's fine. I don't see too many issues with it at all, to be honest. Maybe in the future, somebody will come in and replace him. But for the time being, I'm absolutely fine with Harry Maguire being the captain, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you've answered that perfectly, actually, Struan. I think you're absolutely right. I think there's so much going on at the club at the minute, obviously with Ronaldo, with transfers, and there's just so much. If you don't need to fix it, then there's no need for that. You're absolutely right, and I think that he's been unfairly criticised, and I think that actually there's a lot we don't see behind the scenes that he probably does far better than most at the club. So it is what it is. I've got no other thoughts on that really. I'm more than happy for that to continue. And listen, maybe from the outside looking in, we're the people that are incorrect. That's 3 managers now, if you can call it that have come in and all said the same thing and all wanted him to continue as captain. So maybe it's something that we're not seeing and we're not the people that make the decision. So, I'm absolutely fine with that. And I think we've got bigger problems, as you say. Absolutely spot on. Quite a few watching at the moment over on YouTube. Get your comments in. Obviously, we're going to be talking about briefly the game tomorrow against Liverpool and everything else sort of circulating around the club at the minute. Good to see you in the comments, Helly. She said Harry is, according to rumours, popular amongst the players and the coaches. He's visible off the pitch in a positive way. Absolutely spot on there. So moving on to tomorrow a little bit more. Obviously with Ten Hag coming in, we're hopefully looking at a more high-pressing, attacking game. Obviously it's going to take a little while for that to sort of be embedded, but hopefully we see a bit more of that tomorrow. But Kevin, how similar do you feel that Klopp and Erik Ten Hag are? They've got very, very similar styles of plays, similar style of play. They sort of play very high attacking, high press football, very quick and fluid. But are there any other similarities you might see between the both?
Well, on the high press football, I mean, do we have the forward that'll do the Firmino job? I'm not sure. But it'll be interesting because especially with Sancho, because I do think they have a very, very similar high press football, and it'll be interesting to see how he fits in there. So yeah, it should be more interesting to see this season, I think. Now, again, with will Ronaldo, he says Ronaldo fits into his plans. I'm not sure Ronaldo fits into, if he wants to go with that high press football that Klopp goes as well. I just can't see him playing. That's the one thing I think. If we keep Ronaldo, I'm not sure how much he'll fit in there. And if he does stay, I'm not sure if he can play that sort of football, because that would definitely hamper us. So he might have to change his style a small bit. Also, we're we're not at Liverpool standard at the moment, unfortunately. So he played that.
Long way to go,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
So he played that over with Ajax, who, I mean, they can attack most of the time. Liverpool in the Premier League attack most of the time, and we don't have the ball as much as of the time. So when we get the ball, we have to make it count. So we have to be we have to be a little bit better with the football, I think. And so I think that all out press it'll be hard to do, since you'll be doing it more often.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. We'll have to obviously just wait and see. Keane makes a good point here, actually. Give me Bruno Fernandes as the false nine. Lots of talk over the last few weeks as to whether Bruno will fit into a Ten Hag system. He's more of a ball progressor as opposed to a ball carrier. Not really a number 8 or number 10 that Ten Hag is used to. But Struan, would you be open for this to happen? Obviously, lots of talk. I think I've had the conversation with you yourself weeks ago, and I certainly have had this with Keane, with Fernandes in the false nine.
Yeah, I'm at that stage where obviously new coach coming in. I'm kind of just open to anything to see what's happening. I think our midfields, or at least our attacking midfield, is really exciting because obviously a lot of people, including myself, are expecting Donny van de Beek to sort of kick on a little bit. Now he's under Ten Hag again. It's a cliche, but he could feel like a new signing. It could be the first time since we brought him in 2020 that we actually can see the Donny van de Beek that we bought. And I could almost see, if he's wanting to play him in a bit more of an advanced position, maybe Bruno will go up. Obviously, when he took his Ajax team to the semi-finals of the Champions League, he did play with a false nine in that competition, which was Dusan Tadic. So I don't know if there's a way possibly where he sees Bruno Fernandes filling in a similar role, because obviously his passing, his finishing is pretty good. I can't remember if we saw it too often under Ragnick. At the end of last season, there was that period where we basically didn't have any forwards, and it was just sort of a mix and match as to what was happening. But the whole system was just all over the shop, to be honest, at the end of last season. So I don't think that's a fair enough reflection. And obviously one of the other things that's quite exciting is that Christian Eriksen should be coming in at some point as well. So you kind of think, you've got Van de Beek, you've got Fernandes, Eriksen, trying to fit them all in. It's really exciting to have those kind of options. And maybe because of that, you could see Fernandes playing possibly in a more advanced position. You could see maybe Eriksen playing as like a deep line playmaker, something like that. Donny could probably fit in anywhere in the midfield, apart from, being a holding midfielder. It's interesting to see, but I wouldn't be opposed to Bruno in that position at all. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing, Rashford start as the number 9 tomorrow or something like that. I'd love to see Ahmad start, just anything like that, to be honest. Just excited to see how Ten Hag fits these players in and stuff like that, because it's going to be nice to have a system and something that can properly work for this team, hopefully. But obviously, you would like a few more signings to come in across the shop.
Yeah, and they very much could be a few more signs coming in. Obviously, I know things are taking a little bit of time, not to everybody's taste, but we've got one or two pretty much confirmed. Obviously, Eriksen hoping to join them in Australia in a couple of weeks' time. And obviously a very, very good signing from him. Tony in the comments here, good to see you in here, buddy. Evening, guys. Hope we are all well. I'm going to come back to Ronaldo, actually, and Helly's made a good point here. He would hardly come out and tell the press that Ronaldo doesn't fit his system. If that is the case, I don't see him wanting a player like Ronaldo unless he can adapt. And I think, obviously, you guys alluded to that as well. I don't personally think that Ronaldo would suit that type of system. I think that's probably part of the problem and the reason why Ronaldo may have come out and said what he said, because I think that maybe he may feel feel deemed surplus to requirements. I don't know. He's obviously a phenomenal player, scored us many goals last season. But is he a player that would fit that style? Who knows? It might well be the case. But just coming back to Ronaldo, actually, I haven't really had the opportunity to speak to anybody about this over the last few weeks. But what are your thoughts, Kevin, on this situation? What would you do as Manchester United? Would you get rid of him? And how do we sort of move on from here?
Well, I think Ronaldo's made a mess of this for both the club and himself. He's he knew what the situation was going to be probably 2 months ago.
Back in April, he knew that we weren't getting top four in back in April. So I can't imagine what's changed that much between now and then for him to then come out and say what he said.
The problem is now as well, because he's left it so late, teams, I don't know who will be willing to take on the money. I mean, he's on about 500,000 a week. And so I think if he wants to leave, Ronaldo will have to, first we'll have to find a club. And the clubs are, who are the realistic clubs? Surely PSG wouldn't be willing to have an absolute nightmare in the dressing room over there if they were to take him.
Imagine, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Barcelona don't want another contract to go on the wage bill that I don't know if their wage bill exists at the moment. And I think Juventus got rid of him, and they don't want to take him back, I'm guessing, especially when they took on Pogba, not his full wage, but some of it. And he's not. Bayern Munich don't make this sort of transfer over the history of their club, you know. So I think Ronaldo has made an absolute meal of it for himself now, especially after they bought Mane as well. And he's just made a meal of this. And the only way he could possibly leave is if he'd have to dice his wage, is what he'd have to do. So it'd be, do you want Champions League or do you want the money? And you can't have both. You have to pick one of them. That's what it really is for Ronaldo at the moment. And the only other he was linked with in England was Chelsea, and I think Tuchel's come out and said that that's a no now, especially with Sterling coming in.
He's pretty much vetoed it, isn't he? Yeah, he's pretty much vetoed it. Just to come to a couple of the comments on the Ronaldo situation, Tony here. I don't think he would sit there and say all is good when it isn't either. I think we will be able to. I think Erik ten Hag will be able to use Ronaldo, but would require him to change a few things. And the thing is, it's like anything in life, isn't it? He's 37 years old now. He's not going to change his footballing ability or style of play at that age. So I think it's more that we utilise him and maybe work around him a bit more when he plays within the 11, or we don't. It'd be interesting to see what happens. I don't think Ten Hag should be bending to any players. It's his way or the highway. Absolutely agree. We've seen a lot of that, particularly under Ollie. Obviously, he had a very good rapport with the player, was a great manager, but probably allowed them to get away with probably a little bit too much, and we need to kind of steer clear of that if we can. Helly with a comment here. I don't understand why he left it this late. We can't afford players who are not fully committed this season. Sporting could be an option for him. Struan, are you in agreement there? What are your thoughts on the Ronaldo situation?
I wouldn't mind it if he left tomorrow. To be honest, it is one of these things that, you say we've known for certain since April. You could argue we've known since November, when Ollie was sacked, that top four was going to be a mission, even though it seemed close to that time. We just weren't playing well at all. But, in a way, the entire summer and everything about Man United now is just Cristiano Ronaldo. You look at the press conference today, and I think rightly so, 90% of the questions to Ten Hag were about Ronaldo because it's such a big issue. And, you look at the teams he's going to, talk about Chelsea. I'd feel so bad for Thomas Tuchel if they ended up signing him, because if Lukaku didn't fit his system, I don't see how Cristiano Ronaldo.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I just don't see why any team at the top level at the moment would necessarily want him. I know that's possibly a controversial take, but you think about how teams have to totally sort of tear up their plans for what they're going to do, and even if he does stay for this season, is the last year of the contract, you're going to play a specific way to fit Ronaldo, and then next season you'll have to buy a new striker and change everything up anyway. So it's almost a case of, I know he's left it late and we've got other priorities in the transfer window, but if you sell him now, you can get those wages off the bill. The wage bill must have taken a fantastic hit this summer. Cavani, Mata, Pogba already going all on big wages.
I think it was 1.2 million a week, pounds.
Yeah,
that we've saved by trimming the squad down a bit, which is an incredible amount of money a week.
And Ronaldo on top of that as well, 500k or whatever it is. I think one of the reasons that he was rumoured to be wanting away was because his wages have been slightly cut because we're in the Europa League. And that's the other thing, I think the Champions League is his competition. He lives for that. He wants to be sort of in any team who can effectively afford him and are in the Champions League. I think that would be it. Part of me selfishly wants him to go to PSG just to see him and Messi in the same team, just for one game, just once, just to see it. Neymar would be there as well, but I can't see that happening, to be honest. I think he will end up staying, but again, it's a bit of an issue. He's not there at pre-season at the moment. It's clearly he doesn't want to be part of the team. So if he's coming back in, I know part of me thinks he is a good influence in the dressing room. Part of me thinks he's maybe not. Part of me thinks, if he's wanting away, it might be a bit awkward when it comes back in the team. No, he clearly doesn't want to be part of this squad, but again, it's one of those things where Ten Hag, he said they had a conversation with him before the news had come out, and he was sort of planning next season with him in the team, so you can put off signing a number 9. But now this has happened, and I was talking earlier on there about, the Harry Maguire captaincy. It's just yet another thing that Ten Hag is going to have to deal with. I feel so bad for Ten Hag with everything that's going on, but I hope the Ronaldo situation does get solved. To be honest, I don't mind if he moves on. I won't be worried at all. I think last season we had a few good moments, but the amount of players who sort of had to sacrifice their own game to accommodate him, and for me, it's just not worth keeping him around another season. He's obviously still going to be a club legend for what he's done in the past and stuff like that, but I think it's going to be one of these things that will probably drag on. I think he will stay another season purely because I don't think anybody will want to sign him, but I think it is going to be one of these things that the whole summer window is just going to be dominated by, Ronaldo. It's Lisandro Martinez, but it's Ronaldo. It's Frankie de Jong, but it's Ronaldo. It's one of these things that is possibly just going to drag, but it is what it is, I guess, the situation. He still is a fan favourite. He's still loved. I'm sure when he scores at Old Trafford, it'll still be a fantastic moment, even though he wanted to go away. And it probably will be one of these things that'll be forgotten about quickly, and that's fine. A lot of people will sort of move on from the fact he wanted to go away because he's here now. We'll move on with the season, something like that. So yeah, I guess it's just one of those, take it day by day. I'm not really paying that much attention to it now at this point. If he's going to go, he can go. If he's going to stay, he'll stay. Just is what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I think initially when it all came out, I was frustrated, and I think that's only because it kind of reminded me of 2009 and 2 years prior to that when he did the same thing, and it brought that heartache back, really. But aside from that, I haven't really been keeping up, and I'm not that fussed. I think it's it's typical Ronaldo. I do think he loves the club, but I think that Cristiano Ronaldo loves Cristiano Ronaldo more. Yeah, it's as simple as that, and it's just an unfortunate situation. Puts us on the back foot a little bit, but I don't think it's as bad as what people are making out. And, it is what it is. I think he'll stay Struan as well. I really do. I think that the only options he's really got, PSG, I don't think so. I think that, they're already paying through the roof on wages. FFP have really been sort of lurking around them in the last couple of seasons. I don't think they could do that and bring him in as well. You're looking at possibility of Barcelona. I did read a couple of times in the last few days that if Lewandowski isn't going to go to Barca, or Bayern are playing a bit too much hardball with them, then it could be an option for them to go for Ronaldo instead. So that could be an option. Roma I've seen as well. Napoli I've seen as well. Who knows? We will have to wait and see when the window slams shut at the end of the summer. Kick-off, Ricardo, tomorrow 2 p.m. UK time. So yeah, tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm really looking forward to watching it. We will move on to that a little bit more in a minute. We did speak about this earlier, Tony. If you want to have a little rewatch again, I'm not going to bore everyone else, but we did talk about Maguire and the captaincy, and we both agreed that we all agreed, that that it's absolutely fine. I think there's bigger problems at United at the moment, and it doesn't surprise me that he's still got the captaincy. It's absolutely fine with me. So yeah, going on to transfer targets again. I've been out of the conversations in the last couple of weeks, so I just want to get everyone's sort of fresh thoughts on that. But the Frankie de Jong deal taking an awful amount of time. Apparently, Richard Arnold and John Murto are in Barcelona today to get that finally over the line. Lots of issues that have happened over the last couple of months, but it seems to be that Barcelona, and I don't know how they've got themselves into this. I really don't understand how FFP aren't breathing down their necks and being like, what the hell's going on here? But the wages that are owed to Frenkie, I think PK, I think Coutinho even, there's money to be paid to Liverpool still for the Coutinho transfer, which happened all those years ago now, or seems like it. I just don't know how they've got themselves into such a mess, and we'll have to wait and see over the next few weeks what happens. But Kevin, do you think this one's going to get over the line? I appreciate you don't know any more than any of us, but what are your general feelings on him? Do you want him, and do you think it will happen in the next few weeks?
So yeah, I saw the video actually today of the head ofs in United and Barcelona. They're in a cafe, I think it was, having chats. So you see, they can't pay out his 13 million wages, and then they're willing to dish 75 million on Rafinha, and you just wonder where's that money coming from?
It doesn't add up, does it? I
No.
literally, we read this and we don't know all the goings on in the background, but you must read this and think, 1 second, how are they getting away with that? Like, how is someone not questioning? It just seems crazy to me. Go on, sorry, buddy.
The only smart person at Barcelona seems to be Samuel Umtiti, who never played a game in his life, but at least he didn't take a wage cut. So he seems to be the only smart guy. But yeah, it's amazing, and surely eventually Laporte is going to have to accept, if we just give him the 13 million now, we can take in 50 million today. It'll.
Surely that would be the way that it works out. If they owe him 13, I don't even know how much it was off the top of my head, but about 13 million, could we not take that off of the total amount paid to them
exactly.
up front? Or surely that it seems logical to me, but why I just don't understand why it's taking so long. Sorry, go on.
No, exactly. That taken off would be 50 something million, I'm guessing it would. I've heard 60 something is the transfer fee, but I mean they're having to sell more of the commercial rights, and which will lose them about 500 million, not adjusting for inflation over the next 25 years. I mean, his wage is so big, surely they'll just have to try and push it across the line. I mean, it was hilarious. I think it was about a week ago, where Laporta was out saying to the press that he's not for sale and we don't need to sell him. And it's like playing poker with your cards turned around to the other players. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This one surely will be got done. But the only thing, you almost feel a bit bad for Frankie de Jong. I'm not sure how much he wants to come to us, and probably because of Champions League again, but surely he doesn't want to stay at the club who just are, no, we're not paying you. Surely not. So it'll have to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. What a mess. What a mess. And I think it will be done. I don't read in too much into the, not wanting to go to United. I don't believe that. I think that obviously he wants to stay at Barca, that's fair. He wants to play Champions League football, totally understand that as well. But to categorically come out and say that he's not interested or he doesn't want to go to United, I think it's unfair, and I don't think that's true at all. You know, he's worked very closely with Erik ten Hag. He knows what United is all about, and I've failed to see that is an issue. But you can understand those other caveats that kind of amplifies that issue, if you see what I mean. Struan, are you in the same boat there? Do you think it will be done? Do you think that he's necessary? And I personally feel that Ten Hag will probably want to work the team around him. I think he's going to utilise him in the middle, not necessarily as a number 6, but I think he wants to get him. He's told him he's his number 1 target, and I think that he wants to build the team based around him. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting one because I feel like it is a dream transfer. You know, he's one of these midfielders who you could say starts for every team in world football.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable, to be honest, and it's almost crazy to me the way that, you know, Barca are happy to get rid of him in a sense, but also they want to keep him. I honestly can't decide if this is going to happen or not. You know, I don't want to say it will and then it doesn't, or, you know, or what have you. You know, it wouldn't be a Man United transfer window without at least one saga going on. You know, we have to have a deal that lasts 7 to 8 weeks or something. Actually, probably longer than that.
There's always one, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's always one.
And it's one of those that you just, you know, think like, oh, what's going to be happening? But I've kind of just taken the approach of looking at other transfers. You know, like I think the Christian Eriksen was absolutely fantastic on a free. I think that's such a good sign, and I really like Malacia as well. You know, 12 to 15 million. The way that happened as well, it looked like he was going to Lyon, and then, you know, United came in. I think Lisandro Martinez, who I think Ajax are putting the price up for him. I don't know what's going on with that. You know, I think he looks interesting as well, but. If Frankie de Jong, you know, if this is still just going to be complicated, I'd possibly try and look at somebody like Fabian Ruiz at Napoli. I think he's apparently available. You know, it's a shame that Ten Hag won't or may not get his number 1 transfer target, but at the same time, you know, you want somebody to come in quite soon. You know, you don't want to keep this one dragging on and on. And I think, you know, although we keep hearing these conflicting reports that on the one hand he doesn't want to come and on the other he does, I think you're spot on, Marc, by saying that. I don't think he wants to leave Barcelona. It's a dream club. It's the dream club for so many footballers. Obviously, it's Barcelona. A lot of Dutch players really like that. Obviously, Johan Cruyff connections and stuff like that. And it's in the Champions League. And I think Barcelona at the moment, you know, they've been in a bit of a slump, but I think things are looking really good. I think Xavi looks like a really good coach. They've got a really good young team, the likes of Pedri, Gavi coming through, Araujo in the defence. The forward line's looking really good as well. You know, I think it's a really exciting project to be a part of. So I can see why you wouldn't necessarily want to leave that. But at the same time, I don't think Barcelona have ever gotten the best Frankie de Jong that we saw at Ajax. You know, Ten Hag can get that. You know, he could be, you know, the main guy at Man United, as you said. I think he wants to build a team around it. So I think he would be open to the idea of Man United. But I think at the same time, probably wants to stay in Barcelona as well. It's not necessarily, I don't want Man United. It's just, I like this other option. And I'm sure if he came, it wouldn't be a Di Maria where he clearly didn't want to come and, you know, within a year he was gone. I think it would be a case of, okay, you know, it didn't work out for Barcelona, but I've got this new challenge. I'm sure his wages at Man United would still be astronomical. And to be honest, whatever he wants, a manager like Ten Hag as well, you know, I think it would be a good transfer. But I honestly can't decide if this is going to happen or not. I think this week will probably be quite important because I think he came back to training today at Barcelona. I think the internationals came back there. So there'll probably be some stories that come out throughout this week. As we mentioned there, Murto and Richard Arnold were both in Barcelona today. Maybe that's going to be significant. I'm sure we'll find out soon. But yeah, it's one of these ones that I'm just trying to not get invested in because the one moment it looks like it's coming and then the next
we've been
not.
Burnt many times, haven't we? I don't want to fall down that trap again.
Honestly, Griezmann was the one that did it for me. I don't think I'd ever gotten invested in a transfer and thinking it was going to happen until he stayed. That was almost like I learned my lesson from that point, not to watch too many YouTube compilations of players until they're holding up the shirt or, you know, Romano says, "Here we go," or something like that. But yeah, I'd absolutely love Frankie de Jong. As I said, that's like a dream. It's almost like a fantasy signing. You know, if you said that back in April, we would be linked to Frankie de Jong, you know, before Ten Hag was confirmed, I would have just laughed it off and just said, you know, there's no chance we're going to get somebody of that quality. But you know, I think it would be incredible. And it's the type of thing that would transform the midfield. But yeah, so hopefully it happens. But I don't know. I see Keen's in the comment there saying, is Wesley Sneijder coming? I think we've got the wrong Dutch midfielder then if we get Frankie de Jong, to be honest.
Yeah, we've there's been a few like that. Snyder, Gaetan, and a few others over the years that still waiting to see them hold up the United shirt. But there you go. And as Keane says, Money Murto getting the deal done. We can only help. We can only hope. Sorry, it's a very strange situation, and it doesn't really fill me with very good positive vibes because you were expecting a lot of change at United, a lot of change to the structure, the way that they deal with these transfers, and it doesn't seem to be helping too much at the moment. But perhaps it is a lot more complicated than we understand. And of course, with wages and stuff, how far do you pass the buck? Who takes that responsibility at that point? Do you know what I mean? It's a very complicated deal.
I think that's the other thing as well. Like, obviously, we know United are really slow at transfers, but part of me feels this is out of their hands. He's
I
owed
think
money by
so.
Barcelona. It's like, I think there's only so much United can do at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're Frankie de Jong, you're not going to say, if your employer owes you 17 million, you're not going to say, I want to leave. You're not gonna do anything like that in that case as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. Who knows? We will see. Hopefully, in a few weeks' time, if this one does get over the line. But it is becoming a bit of a farce now, isn't it? And a bit boring. And I think even every other fan in the world that aren't United fans have probably heard enough about it as well. But there we go. We'll see. We'll see. We've got someone joining in a moment. Just to let you know, we've got Talk of the League returning again next Monday. So that's been obviously not happening for the last few weeks. What normally happens, people tend to get together and talk about sort of the all the league in general. And I think because obviously a few pre-season games will be played, it will be a good conversation point to talk about next week. So make sure you tune in for that. Also, we've got a big new show, which I'm really, really excited for tomorrow night. So our good friend Jamie Andrews, who is coming over to this channel full time, has got his own show that will be starting tomorrow night, and it's something that you have not seen anywhere else before. It's very, very good, very, very theoretical, and really excited for that one. It's called Old Trafford Theory, so that will be on tomorrow night. Hopefully, if not next Tuesday. So please come over and have a look for that one. Was expecting Gary, but he's disappeared again. But there you go. So anyway, moving on to tomorrow. Keane made a really good question in here, and I'm trying to find where it is. Kevin, what youngsters are you excited about seeing tomorrow?
How many would we see tomorrow is kind of thing. Will we see many youngsters tomorrow, or will we go?
I think there are quite a number of them out there with the team. I think Garnacho is one of them. Amad Diallo, which Struan said about earlier. I think James, Jimmy, the holding midfielder. What's his? James Garner. I think he's out with them at the moment. So potentially a number of youngsters that we could see tomorrow. But any that might particularly take your fancy?
I mean, surely Amad Diallo has to play. I think we spent 40 million on him on a buyout clause, didn't we? And surely he'll play. Palestri's another person I'd love to see play. So, and our new signing, of course, at left back. So but it's mainly Amad Diallo is the one I really want to see. Not Charlie Savage.
I wouldn't mind seeing any of them, but I get your point. Actually, I would not. Obviously, had a loan spell at Rangers last season. Didn't quite work out as well as we might have hoped, but he's certainly an exciting prospect. A few more here, obviously Iqbal, Charlie Savage, who you mentioned there, Kevin. But Struan, any that might tickle your fancy tomorrow? Any that you might want to see more than others?
I really hope Ethan Laird has a good pre-season tour because we need a right back. And I don't think we're going to sign one. And I really like Ethan Laird. I think he looks really good. He was doing so well at Swansea last season. Bournemouth loan didn't quite go as well, but I think it says a lot that these players are on the tour, because I think, Shola Shoretiri and Alvaro Fernandez were left back because there's potential loan moves there, which to me suggests that, Garner, Laird, these type of players who have been loaned out, they've got the chance possibly to break into the first team. And I think in Laird's position right now, it's the perfect opportunity. Diogo Dalot is good, but he's not quite it. There's been reports that we're willing to sell Wan-Bissaka, which would suggest, Ten Hag isn't exactly planning on him. It could be, we can't believe every report you read, but I'd love Ethan Laird to have a good preseason, because obviously, he's had injury issues in the past, but he's praised all the time. I'd love to see him do well. I'd love to see Hannibal get a chance as well. I've got no idea where Hannibal would play, to be honest, in Ten Hag's system, but I'd love to see him get given a chance, and I think that's the beauty of these preseason games, is you care more about seeing the youngsters. I remember last year Pellistri scored, or he made an assist against Derby or something like that, and it was just great to see Pellistri getting that chance, rather than anything else. And we do have quite a lot of youngsters with us at the moment, so hopefully a few of them can get a chance. Even if like Nathan Bishop or Kovar get a chance in goal, just something a bit different. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Ethan Laird, if I had to pick one, he's the one who I'm most looking forward to seeing.
One that I totally forgot about, actually, and I'm really pleased you remind me, Struan, Ethan Laird, because you're absolutely right. A right back is a bit of a problem position. Talks about potentially Carl Walker-Peters the other day, but Ethan Laird is a fantastic talent that unfortunately has been hampered by a few injuries, and hopefully he does get a bit of a showing tomorrow. We'll see. And of course, I did forget Malakia. It seems like an age ago when we signed this man. I did see some quotes today from Ten Hag saying that he is a very much a modern day left back, a very, very exciting player to watch. Really looking forward to seeing how he does. What are your thoughts on Malakia, Kevin, just very quickly?
I mean, it's the opposite of Frankie de Jong, this signing, because we weren't linked to him, and then he's a Man United player suddenly. But I haven't seen much of him other than sudden YouTube videos that come up, and there weren't many before. But I haven't seen many of them, to be honest. So, but I mean, left back. When we brought in Tellez, it gave Shaw a kick. And he definitely really went up a gear. And then Shaw does what Shaw does, and that's get injured, unfortunately. And Tellez is very much an attacking full back, but when the ball's on the other foot, his defensive skills are very suspect at times.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if like Ten Hag says, he's one of these modern fullbacks, which is more attacking. It'll be very interesting to see when Mo Salah has the ball, see what he does then.
Yeah, absolutely. It could cause more terror for our poor defence that have been absolutely suspect to that recently, especially against Mo Salah. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on tomorrow. Just quickly then, guys, just going to round up. I know it seems ridiculous, but it's pre-season, and I want to try and get into the spirit of enjoying our football again, and I will be taking my lunch at 2 p.m. tomorrow, so I'll certainly watch it. But I want some score predictions, please. Now, I know that it could be how long is a piece of string, but try your absolute best. I want your score predictions and first goal scorer. And I just want to ask everybody in the chat as well, please, out of all the names that have come out, or the youngster names that have come out that we'd be excited of watching tomorrow, please, you guys give me one in the chat, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But Struan, you first, buddy.
I was going to say a draw, but now part of me thinks that I don't actually know if it'll go to penalties or not, because there is that cup on the line, so I think it'll have to be decided. So I'll go...
infamous cup.
3-2 United.
3-2,
could be one of them where... Because I think Liverpool will rotate a lot as well. They've made a few signings like Carvalho and Calvin Ramsey. You'd imagine will get quite a bit of game time, and I don't think they'll want to throw too many of the internationals in straight away the same way as we will. And I think it'll be one of them where we play 2 11s, we start one in the first half, change around in the second half. And I think, hopefully there'll be a bit of a manager bounce. You'd think that hopefully the United players are maybe a wee bit more up for it than the Liverpool ones are. 9-0 on aggregate last season. It's only pre-season, but at the same time, you need to get a bit of revenge. So I'd love to see that. And I'd love to see Rashford opening the score. The header he scored in pre-season today, It was really good. It was just a
Something we've
really
not
nice.
seen of him. I know it seems
Yeah,
really
it's
simple and we get excited and probably carried away with these little things, but you're absolutely right. It's something we've not seen much of. Sancho, obviously, a nice
the
little
link up.
assist. Yeah, it
Oh, I
was
want that so
perfect.
badly.
And you have to take those little wins sometimes, don't you? Um, just in answers to this, Ellie, I'm really excited for tomorrow. Honestly, I've missed United so much in the last few weeks, and I'm very much ready and looking forward to watching them tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. A few scores that have come in here. Just going to go through that. Tony here. Want to see Hannibal, Garnacho and Laird play. Result tomorrow, I think, is a 1-1 draw. Reese, 0-0 draw for me. What time is the match? 2 p.m. UK time tomorrow, and Reese has also answered that as well. What was your first goal scorer, Struan?
Rashford, and hopefully it's Sancho whipping it from the right. Something like that. I just want to see that link up next season. That's I'll go for Rashford opening the scoring.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. And I heard today that Darwin Núñez isn't playing. I think from what I hear, he forgot his inhaler, so he's not going to be starting tomorrow. But anyway, moving on. Kevin, your first goal scorer and score, please, buddy.
I'm going to be positive. I'm going to go 3-1 because I do think we'll play a lot more of our first team players than Liverpool will play of their first team players. I just get the feeling we will. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why, but I think that's how it will go. I think it'll be 3-1 and it'll be Sancho with the first goal. I'm going to be positive.
That's really good. Honestly, you two are far more positive than I am, and I really appreciate that. You've brought me up a level or two, so that's great. I think it's probably going to be a draw tomorrow. I think you're going to see, obviously, a lot of changes, lots of hopefully attacking football. I think you'll see some big changes from the training over the last couple of weeks, but I think it will probably be a 1-1 draw, in my opinion. But who knows? Who knows? We might see something really exciting and demolish them. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. As I said, tomorrow night, big new debut show tomorrow that I am incredibly excited for, with Jamie Andrews. I think Keane's going to be on. I might be making an appearance and potentially one or two more. But something that you wouldn't have seen before, and it will be really exciting. Something totally different, coming away from the normal crap about transfers and previews and reviews and all this sort of thing. But it's a really, really good concept, and very much looking forward to that tomorrow. So please come on back. I'm not quite sure what time. I think it's going to be about 8 or 9. That might change, but we will obviously update you. That's it from us then, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Lots of you watching tonight, which is really, really great. Some really good comments as well, and obviously we hope to see you back next time. Kevin, thank you for coming on, buddy. Struan, pleasure as always, mate. Thank you so much. And yeah, we will see you next time.